Hello, and welcome to another Percentage Chance Reacts. We don't do movie reacts too often. I've done a few in the past, but generally, I keep the wheelhouse where it is. But also, the wheelhouse already involves a lot of Marvel stuff, so like, ugh. I don't think it's that big of a crossover anyway. Well, I mean, this is, but you get what I mean. It bleeds into what I already do on the channel pretty well. Um, I've recorded a Lego Batman for the first time in a while as of last night, by the way, so that'll be going up on the channel soon. But main thing I also want to mention real quick is that my off day is switching this week, so I will not be live today on the Monday this came out when you're watching this. I'll be back Tuesday, tomorrow. Tuesday is not my off day this week. It's actually going to be today, but just figured I'd quickly mention that because there's no other place I'd be mentioning that, and I imagine a decent number of people will check this out. So, haven't watched this yet. Don't really want to belabor the point too hard. Other than that, I did just wake up, admittedly, and so I kind of had that like, oh, the trailer dropped. Okay, I can't really check the rest of my feed until I've seen this thing because, hi, bud. Yeah. Oh yeah. Goofball. Yeah. Anyway. All right, yeah, so let's not belabor the point. I haven't seen anything. Let's go. So thank God they uploaded it in 4K for once. They never do that.
Something's coming.
We'll do some frame by framing after.
Something we may not be able to deter before this day is done.
Is that Downey's voice?
Faced with an unthinkable decision.
Is that Downey's voice for Doom? Holy shit.
I've fought with many warriors in my time.
Yeah!
Stronger
Hey, man.
than all of us put together. And they died.
Namor.
They died facing enemies. And
Black
threats
Panther.
that
Was this
scared me
some,
far
this
less
some Atlanteans?
than this one.
Or Delaquans? Yeah! Yeah! Oh shit! Yeah!
Sacrifice will be for nothing.
Yeah, okay, TVA Loki, who is not looking godly.
Put aside your petty
Herbie!
sins.
Mystique? Oh shit.
And pursue
Okay.
nothing except this. If you return, who will return has brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
But mark my
Oh my
words,
god, wow.
we're going to need a miracle.
Okay.
Hey, pal.
It's not possible.
I actually really like how de-emphasized he is. Yep. Yep. Very happy with that. So, I just clipped that for the vertical, so that'll be its own little clip, but let's go back through it. But also, I want to talk about how I feel broadly first, just on the first reaction. I'm sure there might be a couple things I might catch as we go back through it. But I do really... So obviously, like, a lot of people have said, like, it sounds like Cap is actually going to be the lead, is what I've seen people say, in leaking spaces. The thing about that, though, is that, like, you got to remember that, like, the way that the ensemble even functions, that the Russos kind of cracked for Infinity War and Endgame, and also Civil War to an extent, is by siloing groups of characters into different pockets, right? Like the crossover functions by like, hey, we're gonna have, this scene has like 8 characters, and they're all meeting up, and they're off in their own subplot, right? Sorry, my nose is a little niffly. Ugh. and they're gonna silo off and they're gonna go do their thing, right? And then the rest of them, apologies if this is gonna crush. I have a nose, you have a nose. We all deal with it. Anyway, then they kind of silo them off into like separate chunks, right? And then, um, we have different characters going off in different spaces and working on their own objectives, right? And that's kind of the way that these giant ensembles have to function when they get to this level of characters, because realistically, yeah, you're running so many threads, you have to just completely silo them into each other and then let them kind of meet up later when their goals align. And that's kind of the only way you can really write these, to be honest, to make them make sense. And by the way, I have to respect what the Russos are doing a lot because of what the not everything they do is perfect for the record, but like the common complaint for the MCU for a long time that they clearly share is like the feeling of having to do homework and stuff like that. And this feels like a sequel to Endgame more than anything else, right? And they've said openly, like, they're treating this as phase zero. They're treating this as the beginning. They're treating this as a new start. Like, you don't have to do homework. You're gonna like you're the most you're gonna have they want you to do is go watch Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, which is not a question that's a problematic for many people because most people have seen those movies, right? And you can really feel that it does feel like a direct sequel in a lot of ways, right, from this. That being said, there are a bunch of new characters, but like Infinity War and Endgame do their best to catch you up on who each character is to a pretty great extent. They do expect you've seen things because you have, but like they do actually go out of their way to like, hey, here's who this guy is. 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 They give you just enough to follow it, right? And I do think that's probably going to work out for them. I see a lot of people still saying like, but I haven't seen like the last 12 of these. They've literally said the Russos themselves have been critical about that. Like, yeah, you don't have to. We want this to feel like the beginning of a new story, right? Which I'm assuming means that they intend to stick with Marvel past. What is this doing? Here, here's your blanket. There you go. They intend to stick with them past past these next two movies. Some people have even speculated about a third Avengers movie. Maybe even something that's like Secret Wars Part 1 and Part 2. Who knows what they're actually going to do with that right now. This is evidently the Infinity War to Secret Wars' Endgame, but also who knows if they want to make that bigger. Craziest thing about this right now is the lack of Spider-Man. But like, to be real, Tom Holland is apparently shooting something right now, right? He's apparently in costume doing Spider-Man stuff right now, from what I've seen, right? And it's definitely enough for a brand new day. And let's be real here. When it comes to reshoots for these movies, the amount that each character is going to be in, right? Think about how much Spider-Man is actually in Infinity War, right? You could shoot all of his scenes in reshoots if you wanted to. Like all of them. Endgame as well. Right? Like literally all of his scenes could have been in reshoots. So if Spider-Man's in this movie, they might literally just not have shot it yet. Knowing full well that Tom Holland is a blabbermouth and we're just not gonna fucking let him on set until we're like mostly done the movie already, right? You know, like you could easily give Tom Holland his pickup shots in reshoots and just call it a day. And that's not like a crazy thing for them to do. That's just kind of how the Russos have always made, right? And I mean, they're consistently the best directors that Marvel has worked with. It's as far as the giant ensembles, right? Like no one does it better than them when it comes to that stuff. So I suspect this is going to be a big winner. A lot of people are very quick to rush to tear it down, and I understand. But the thing is, everything they keep saying works for me. Like, and it's also running counter to what a lot of people are saying and assuming it's like, oh, I don't want to do homework. Oh, I've lapsed on these, and they're like, the people making this agree with you, and have verbally said out loud many times they want this to feel like a restart. They want it to feel like a new beginning. that still has a lot of the new characters that have shown up. Fuck, I'm so happy to see Shang-Chi. I fucking love that movie. But like, there is so much to mine with this stuff. And also, like, yeah, look, I do agree with like bringing Cap back is like a nostalgia play. At the same time, it's the Russos, and like Cap is like basically their main character, you know, right? Like that is very much something that I would not have expected them to not go back to be honest. And like, hey man, I'm up for it. I do think it's kind of funny. There was a moment when Thor was like, "It's not possible." I was like, "Is he talking to Tony?" Just because like he knows Cap's not dead, right? Like, but anyway, yeah, but so yeah. Anyway, some time displacement stuff going on, but yeah. All right. Anyway, let's go back through this now and take a peek at some things and see what else can we glean? What little things did I not notice? So of course we're in the school, a shuttered version of the school. So this is supposed to be a meeting of three separate universes, which would of course be the Fantastic Four universe, the X-Men universe, and the primary 616. Not 616, the 10,000, whatever the number is for the MCU, although they did say 616, but that's just because that's what they think their prime universe, whatever. Anyway, you get the idea. Also, yeah, so this voice is Downey, right? This is Downey's Doom voice, correct? That's what it sounds like.
Something's coming.
That accent.
Something we may not be able to deter.
I think that
This
is.
day is done.
Okay. So we have our first look at Doom properly here. Does that face look metallic? Yes. For a second, those lips looked a little too lifelike. But that nose is not. That is not human's nose. That is definitely the mask's nose. Now, the lips do look pretty. No, the lips do look metallic. I was wondering if maybe like a chunk of it had been blown off. For the record, for anybody still curious about the Downey Doom thing, they've been pretty upfront that like it'll make sense when you watch the movie, but I don't think it's like time displacey. I'm not. Listen, I'm open to them doing whatever they want to do with that. It's not like he's gonna play Doom forever, but like Doom has been so consistently mucked up, frankly, that picking a powerhouse for the role is the right choice. I do wish they could have gotten an actor that like maybe hit some of the cultural touchstones a little better, but at the end of the day, Robert's an actor, and he's going to do the best thing he can, and he's going to kick. He's probably going to bring it in a big way, right? And I expect. I listen. I don't expect anything less than him knocking it out of the park because like he's a fucking Oscar winner now. Like, and he was already great, but like let him do something that's different. I don't think. Let me put it this way. I would be more upset if the implication of this was that he's gonna be doomed forever, but it's clearly not that he's gonna be doomed forever. If you're like, but I wanted like fucking Mads or something, which by the way they can't do that because he was Caecilius, but whatever. This Doctor Strange 1 villain. Like I get it. I also would have liked that, right? But like it's very clear this is the multiversal Doom that is going to arrive to set up the next saga. That doesn't necessarily mean Doctor Doom will be forever played by Downey. He has things to do, right? Like the fact that it is Downey at this point in his career is basically telling you that if it was another actor, you'd probably be going, oh, well, this is going to be Doctor Doom forever, right? Because it's Downey here, I'm not going that. I'm actually going, oh, okay, it'll be Downey for a few movies and then probably get someone else later, right? Like once we get like probably universe rebooting kind of things, right? So yeah, I'm not expecting that to be a big issue. Also, let's be clear here. If you've been on this channel long enough, you know you maybe have an idea of the kind of tropes that I love. And I'm sorry, but the protagonist of the previous game, media, whatever, becoming the final boss of your end game is the sickest trope ever, and I'm sorry that trumps everything else. That on its own, like the live long enough to see yourself become the villain trope, it is actually really great. Oh, sorry, give me a quick second. Hey there, I'm back. Sorry, I might have lost the thread a little bit. Someone actually had to come in and fix something. Um, but yeah, I think I was talking about Downey and how what playing him was interesting. Like I think the notion of having like again you're sort of like your original hero becoming your final boss, that's one of the sickest tropes, and like you'll unfortunately that's going to overpower a lot of negative energy I could even have about things on principle for me. And sorry that the JRPGs and such really just drilled that into my head early. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm very excited about it. I wouldn't want him to play Doom forever. I wouldn't, but I feel like the fact that he's playing him at all here is like overwhelming proof that he won't, But yeah, anyway, let's see. These apparently aren't on. Awesome. 1 second. Don't you just love it when technology revolts on you for no reason?
Tech-savvy consumers are lining up today to be the first to purchase Sony's brand new stupid piece of shit that doesn't do the goddamn thing it's fucking supposed to.
Anyway, let's try that again.
With an unthinkable decision.
Yeah, you can see much more of the metallic mask there. Yeah, okay, fun. I like that accent. Oh yeah, and also but I'm pretty sure they said like they're not even gonna get into like I think they said you won't even really understand why he is that way. Think they said you're not even gonna see his face until like Secret Wars or something like that. Like you're not gonna understand until both movies are out, and like that's okay with me. I don't mind that. I saw at some point someone make a I don't know if it's a pie in the sky prediction, what you would call it, but someone like bring up the notion that like the moment that in Endgame, because again, it's meant to be a direct sequel to Endgame, right? In Endgame, when Tony met his dad, he might have shifted something in another timeline, something like that. Like he might have pushed something. Because remember, the way the time travel works in the MCU, although we've had a couple versions of time travel, but again, the broad scope primary version of it is that sorry, this cat wants to be covered up again. Is like when you go forward or when you go backward in time, you're not actually changing your present because then that doesn't actually change your present. You're essentially splitting timelines. You're creating another branch universe. So him interacting with his dad in his past doesn't actually change. Doesn't mean that he interacted with his dad in his past. It means that in another universe, something with his dad shifted slightly, right? And maybe that actually was like a domino that would actually be interesting. I think that would actually be a neat way to wrap that around. That being said, they've also said this is not Tony Stark. This is Victor Von Doom, right? Like in every way that matters, So I don't know. We'll see. This is not a Tony Stark variant. It's Victor Von Doom. That's what they've been very upfront about. The FF with Thor. Okay, so we have Bucky, we have Falcon Cap, and we have Ant-Man. Cool to have Ant-Man around, by the way. Love him. I love Ant-Man so much. Get him in Rivals. I wanna get a cool Rivals moveset for Ant-Man really badly. I liked Brave New World. I know. Throw your tomatoes. It's crazy that's only like 3 movies ago. Like I'm looking at the shelf right now. Not including Brand New Day, which is not out yet. For the record. Well, I guess if you're watching this today, you already know that. But yeah, that movie's not that far back. But yeah.
You're far
Anyway.
stronger.
By the way, some people think that they're undercutting Falcon Cap by having Steve at all with Evans back. I don't think so. I think if anything, you can highlight how great they both are as Cap by doing it like that, right? Like I don't think that you necessarily have to denigrate Falcon Cap at all. Please remember that in the comics, for most of Falcon Cap's run, Steve has been around, and they have very, very much established how both of them work in sync and how they're not oppositional at all. It's not about one being better than the other. It's about them being the best Caps they can be at the same time. Like you can do that. I do wish that there'd been more time before that, but the nature of the beast, like, hey, listen, Civil War happened too early too by many people's measure, but it also could literally have not happened later based on how those movies worked out, right? So like, you know, these things, you know, big production timelines, but you know. Okay, so we have our new Avengers again. I like this fucking oh god, what's his name? Fucking U.S. agent, his little beret. Um, I'm forgetting his name. I'm thinking Wyatt Russell, but that's the actor. Oh, it's so cool. I really like those jackets, by the way, on the FF. I really like that. I love those jackets. Those jackets are cool. It's fun. Although it's a little sad that Ben doesn't get one because he's too fucking big for one, but whatever.
All
Anyway.
of us put together, and they died.
Namor. Whoa, wait, well, hold on. Let me look at his costume. Hold on. Also, I love seeing Avengers Tower with the logo again, even if that's for the new Avengers. But
Then all
still.
of us put together, and they died.
Oh yeah, that's a great costume for him. Holy shit, dude! Rivals is gonna have so many costumes to add all of a sudden. Like, maybe the reason that they haven't been putting out as many MCU costumes lately, other than the fact that, like, you know, they've got, like, you know, they've got the big wave, the brand new day stuff coming soon, right? Like, but like it's been a lot slower than I would have expected, right? It's probably because the path to Doomsday event they're doing, it lets them put in some of those, right? But it's also probably just because, like, they're literally gonna have costume requests for, like, so many characters, right? Like, it's gonna be nuts. Yeah, cool to see Namor again. Sure.
They died facing enemies.
Fuck, cool. Oh, I really like. Okay, it's been a while since I saw Wakanda Forever. Had a great time with it, by the way. Did it have that green trim? There's like this green trim on a lot of the edges. Was that in that movie? Huh, give me a second. Okay, from what I can tell from looking at some of the old screen grabs, and specifically that one scene where she jumps down from the roof, like the main scene where they reveal the costume, there are like little spots that look almost bluish, but if you look at the costume in some of the other scenes where it's better lit, you'll see that it is not actually like bluish trim. It is actually just the light reflecting on certain parts of the costume. The green, so it looks like the costume is unchanged. Looks like the actual suit in the markings, maybe there's a couple little spots and nicks and scratches here and there, and that stuff is largely the same. But the patterns seem to be the same, but the green trim is new. Like that, like there was not green trim in those specific areas before. I think it looks really nice, actually.
And threat.
Okay, so yeah, well, they are okay. My brain, the first time we were fighting, the first time we saw this scene, I think my brain was like, oh, cool, we're actually fighting like the Telokans, and it's like, yeah, Namor's there. Of course, if they're fighting the Telokans, what are we talking about? So, oh, hey, there's a catch. There's a catch in that scene I just caught. So we can see. Obviously, the FF is there. We knew that the Wakandans and the Fantastic Four were going to meet up. That's we saw that in the initial reveal, that trailer from like 6 months ago, the teaser from 6 months ago. But I have now just caught that the new Avengers are on the left side of the screen. So the new Avengers are also caught up in this plotline. Yeah. So the new Avengers are now also over there. You can see Bucky. You can see Ghost. You can see U.S. Agent. And there's someone else there that might be Torres. The other Cap, the Falcon, the current Falcon, Sam Cap's Falcon from that movie. I think that's who that is. I'm not sure. Otherwise, I'm not really sure who I'm looking at. But yeah, interesting. Anyway.
That scared me far less.
All right.
Than this one.
So we have a very similar battlefield to the end of Endgame, frankly, which has some significance. But I'm curious what environment this is destroyed. Also, this is even in the same universe. So let me see this real quick.
Facing enemies and threats that scared me far less than this one.
Do you think this means that Thor fights him really early? No, that's what we're looking at right now. Fuck, that's heat. That's heat, dude. That's heat.
And threats that scared me far less.
Dude, him finally getting... Dude, Marsden got so fucked over in those movies. It's so good that he finally gets his due. I'm hoping anyway, right? Like he's probably a big part of this, right? We have the leader of the X-Men, but also him finally getting like the costume is great. That's so good. They're probably waiting to give us that costume for Cyclops as well as as a Doomsday build-up thing. Man, they're gonna have so many costumes to give us over the course of that next year or so. It's gonna be nuts, dude. But yeah, oh my God. There was actually a moment during this part of the trailer, by the way, that like I was thinking like, oh, they're in the Sanctum Sanctorum, and then now I'm realizing, oh, idiot, no, it's the X-Mansion. What are you talking about? Like, anyway. Also, I don't even know if Doctor Strange is in this one. There's gonna be a lot of characters that are gonna be absent in this one that'll be more present in the next one, I guess, right? So anyway. Dude, okay, so we got Gambit, and we got Shang-Chi. I fucking love Shang-Chi, dude. Okay, yeah, let's get that shit. There we go. Okay, so we have Gambit. They didn't give him the eyes. This, I know it might sound like a nitpick. I really do like Tatum's Gambit, even though it was just the butt of a joke. Like, he's pure comedy in Deadpool and Wolverine, right? But I do definitely think that, like, you know, how do I put this? He is... They're gonna treat him with more sincerity this time, I think. And listen, it's a Deadpool movie, right? He can be the butt of a joke in that movie, right? I get it. Like, I do understand that is probably the right way to take him. I can't sit here as someone that gut laughed so hard at who is your dialogue coach, the Minions, and I can't sit here and tell you that joke alone didn't make this shit fucking legendary. That being said, I do wish they gave him the CGIs. I get that it might look weird on Channing Tatum, but like, I understand it might sound like a nitpick, but like Gambit's whole thing is that his eyes look fucking weird and demonic, and that's why his parents gave him away, and that's why he ended up in the Thieves Guild, and that's explicitly why he was like given up by his parents. Like, they literally looked at his eyes and they thought, this is a fucking demon, get him away from us, right? Like, it is actually vital to his character. So like eh. I sort of get it. I don't know. I kind of thought they were going to do it this time, or at least I hoped so. If they were going to treat him like, it's clearly not the same Gambit, right? It's clearly not the same one. This is a different Gambit, right? But still, at the very least, he worked for this shit for so long. Like, he was such a big fan of this character for so long. He pushed for it for so long. I'm glad he's finally getting it somewhere in like a way that, you know, he can actually do proper Gambit shit. But also, holy shit, I'm so happy to see Shang-Chi again. What team is Shang-Chi been sorted onto? It's exciting. That's good. Yeah, I do wish that is the costume a little more form-fitting? They probably have tweaked it. God, I fucking missed Shang-Chi. It's so cool to finally see him again. It should not have been like fucking 5 years though.
Everything that they sacrificed.
The TBI. Yeah. So Loki's still got the suit on and everything. So does that mean that, are we seeing Loki earlier in his timeline? Did the events of Endgame or Doomsday happen earlier in the show, his timeline? Because it's all time displaced, right? Does that, because he's not the god of stories right now, unless he's choosing to wear the suit. I guess he's the, if he could sit on that chair forever, right? Like I guess he can just leave if he wants to. I don't know. Okay, so I'm getting the sense that like that Namor is like a really important chess piece on the board to stopping Doom for some reason, because we're having like a whole second war with Wakanda and Talokan in here, and that clearly seems to be that tensions have not eased, right? But why do we care about Namor and the Talokans right now is the question. Is why are there not bigger fish to fry when Doom is happening? And the answer is probably that Namor, they probably need to shore up an army, right? They probably have to shore up a bigger army, and they figure, okay, we need everybody. And fucking all the warriors right now, right? That's probably the problem here, right? So yeah, I'm guessing that's probably the direction we're heading. We probably need them, because it's like, do we need everybody? We need everybody on board. Get in. We don't care about your fucking trauma and your hangups right now. Please, dear God, we kind of need this. And he's like, what the fuck? No, I'm busy. I don't care. I'm sitting down here with all my water honeys. Like, he's not pressed about it.
Do not stand together.
It is Danny Torres. Falcon. I was right. I did call it out. Yeah, that is Taurus. Okay, so we have Falcon here. Cool. So we have him hanging out with the Fantastic Four. Although it does just look like it's Sue and Ben, which is interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, firstly we have Herbie. Okay, I'm covering Herbie right now. Let me get out of the way real quick. So Herbie has a new design. Herbie has a new design. Look at that. Herbie has a new design. Herbie has a very new design, actually. He's a lot less retro future, which is interesting. Also, a complaint that we did have a bit about the FF movie was that Reed didn't stretch as much, which is, by the way, a complaint that on rewatch I have not felt nearly as much. To the point where I'm almost convinced the fucking home release put in a couple extra shots of him like stretching his his arm or his leg real quick, because I feel like I don't remember it being that much in the movie when I saw it in theaters. But like I don't know. This is my minor conspiracy theory. I would need to check. I can't really check the theatrical version again, obviously. I don't know. It kind of felt like there was a little more of that on the home release, but I might be completely hallucinating that. But first shot we really see, no, it's not the first shot of Reed in the trailer, but still, but you can see Reed is definitely stretching, and his arm is doing, his jacket is going with him, of course, which is fun. Yeah, I'm just so happy to see Pedro running around in this context, like, but it's also cool, yeah, to see his strength. Cap is there. Man, okay, the group going to the X Mansion is interesting. So yeah, we have Yelena, we have Cap, we have Shang-Chi, we have Reed, and Herbie. So Sue and Ben go with the Wakandans, and I'm guessing Johnny and Reed go to the X-Mansion. Now, one Alan Cumming, who by the way is returning to this movie as my favorite X-Man, Nightcrawler. I fucking love Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler, so Alan Cumming reprising his role from X2, which he has not played since. And he said he had a blast on this movie, which is not surprising. Something that he said was that he let it slip. He's like, oh yeah, one day I'm bouncing around, and then the next day I'm fighting Pedro Pascal, and it's like, oh, so you're gonna fight Mr. Fantastic? Nightcrawler's gonna fight Mr. Fantastic, and that's obviously gonna happen here, right around this sequence. That is very exciting. I will say, despite not looking at that many leaks for this movie and like really trying to let it sit and just kind of come to me as it comes, more than any Marvel movie in a while, I feel like maybe this is also just because I haven't frame by framed these in a long time, right? And I've been happy to just let them roll by me. I do kind of feel like I might have some of the structure of this one already figured out, but which is not something I usually like. But hey, this is the job anyway. But yeah, that seems like that's where we're gonna be landing in this sequence. I'm imagining that Reed and Knight, stretchy arms versus teleporting. That sounds like a very fun mix-up, to be honest. So I like that. Okay, now can I just say that? Now I will admit, I'm sorry, I do not remember the actress's name. I wanted to say Famke Jensen, but no, that's for Jean. So we have Mystique, but not Jennifer Lawrence Mystique. We have the original Mystique actress from the first three movies, for the first time in a long time, I believe. Other than her cameo in First Class, I guess. But that was just that was her actual face, to be fair. But yeah, there she is. It's funny because she has the new classic hair. I can almost barely recognize her. But also it's new makeup, right? So like, yeah, but like it. If you didn't tell me that was the same actress in the first three movies, like, I would have been none the wiser. I suspect there will be some people that'll be complaining that she's not stark nude, but like, go touch some grass, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Like, Jesus Christ, if that's where your head's at. Anyway, that's good. She even keeps her eyeshadow, which I mean, of course she would, but still, good. I like that. This is a bad timeline for the X-Men, evidently, right? This is not a good place. Everybody's in a bad place for the X-Men right now. So there's that one shot in the trailer of the Sentinels wrecking the X-Mansion, right? And Cyclops is going, ah, right? He's doing his ult. he's on his knees doing his ult. I'm guessing that must be after this, right? So like they like that can't be where things are starting. Um, there was a big rumor that I do happen to believe about something that this movie starts on. I'm not going to say what it is. But there is there are some big cameos right up front that are then cameos, right? That are there's some wish fulfillment right at the top of the movie, to my understanding. That I'm not gonna breathe away, but yeah, there's some universes getting blown up right out the gate to kind of set up stakes, right? That I wonder how people will feel about. Now, I also I have seen some things about like it seems like Deadpool. Variety posted that Deadpool would be in the movie, right? Like a year and a half ago, right? And then Ryan Reynolds was like, don't believe everything you read online. I don't believe him, frankly. He's not going to be a big part of the movie. He probably might be a bigger part of Secret Wars, but yeah, Deadpool's definitely in this movie somewhere, even if it's only for like a few minutes. It's probably a cameo, right? It's probably a big cameo, maybe an extended cameo even. It's Deadpool. You're not going to grab him for like nothing, right? He's not going to be like one shot, right? But like expecting Deadpool to pop up for a minute at least seems safe, you know. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't get that working. Again, Spider-Man could be in literally any of these scenes and they just haven't shot him into them yet, right? And like, hey, listen, fine, fair enough. Tom can't keep his fucking mouth shut, fair enough. It's there's too much rich character drama to mine out of Tom seeing Downey's face if you go that way. Assuming he even look. Listen, the mask might come off eventually, and he might be unrecognizable because of like the disfiguration of his face is supposed to be. His face is supposed to be Doom's face is supposed to be disfigured, right? So like the mask could come off, and then everybody kind of has that like Lex Luthor. I have no idea who this is moment. Like it's like he looks so different that like yeah, it's kind of similar to him, but like he might just not look like him because he's fucked up under there, which. Hey, fair enough. I'd be totally fine with that. I think that would be the best move, frankly. They don't need to, you gotta understand, they don't need to bank on Downey's face for this. They don't. They don't want to. They're probably gonna coast on the mask and the acting and the performance and like the voice acting that Downey's gonna put into it, right? Clearly he's not interested in sounding like Downey if that voice up front is in fact him, and it sounds like it might be, right? I don't think they have any interest in like, him just playing the hits on this one. They clearly want it to be its own thing, and that's cool. That's how we move forward, frankly. But yeah, anyway.
If you return.
Okay, Scott and Cassie, cool. Johnny and Sue. Okay, I'm trying to think. Hold on. Did Infinity War have deaths other than half the cast at the end? But like for obvious reasons at this point, I'm not counting those, right? I'm trying to think. Vision. No, Vision died. Vision died properly. Vision properly died. Yeah, that's true. Vision properly died in Infinity War. That's true. Let me think. Who else died in Infinity War? Let me think. Okay, yeah. So yeah, right. So Loki dies in the opening scene, but I'm not counting that for obvious reasons. Well, no, it's okay. Sorry. To be fair, Loki's death is real. The Loki that we follow now is literally a different guy. But anyway, Heimdall, sure, fair enough. Okay, yeah, it's Gamora. That's a proper death in Infinity War. Yeah. Vision, of course, who was killed twice. Okay, yeah. So really, the deaths would be Loki, Heimdall, Gamora, and Vision in Infinity War. So yeah. So some people are gonna get popped in this one. Some people are gonna get murked. Now this shot makes me think it would be Johnny, and that Johnny's going to die, but they would not do that. They wouldn't kill a member of the Fantastic Four. One movie into the Fantastic Four's run, like they're not gonna shift the fucking they're not gonna shift the fucking the roster on that right away, And even then, some people might die and then come right back, right? This stuff like that can also happen for Secret Wars, right? That's kind of the nature of things. Then again, if they're gonna do like minor reset stuff in Secret Wars, like yeah, you could probably kill some people off properly in this, and then have Secret Wars do that stuff, right? Like you could like this looks like someone like one of them is about to die.
Turn has brothers and.
I love that. I love the look of that. Right, and they're here to find Franklin. they're looking for Franklin right now. So like that's, you know, gonna be very interesting to see where he actually plays into things. Yeah, apparently the end game, the shot in First Steps, which is it's the most recent movie actually, which is funny because it's a year old now. The shot in First Steps with Doom, apparently that is a scene from Doomsday, right? So that's, which I kind of pegged right away, like oh, this is definitely something they shot for Doomsday that they're just sending back here. But anyway, yeah, don't darken cap. Okay, yeah, cool. Wait, hold on, hold on. Who else is in that shot when Gambit's slamming down the staff? That looks, you know what that looks like? It kind of looks like that might be the first moment that Gambit enters the scene.
Brothers and sisters.
Like, maybe? Okay, so no, there's definitely already been some fighting. No, Gambit might be entering the fight here, but this is not the beginning of the fight. So Falcon Cap is here. Man, I'm so excited by the idea of Falcon Cap being there in the X-Mansion. That's so cool. And then we have I think that's Johnny, not Reed, right? Is that Reed? Wait, maybe Reed went alone. Maybe Reed's the only member of the FF that went. Maybe Johnny's also in Wakanda. Although, actually, I don't think they're in Wakanda. They're clearly like on some peninsula where like they're deciding to have the fight. Maybe Namor like pushed all the water out and that's why it's raised up. Maybe it's something like that. Yeah, he can't quite tell who's behind there. Yeah, okay, so she's pushing her force fields. We got Namor. Oh, right, of course, Namor and Sue are of course gonna be in the same sequence. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, we got it. All right, fair enough. Literally doing the same leap he did in Endgame. Doing that fucking Goku snap, that fucking Goku stop move. Like, okay, there we go. That's our first clear look at the mask. And Downey's eyes. Are they green or is that the lighting? By the way, I've recorded 40 minutes of this. It's so much more than I expected to, but I guess that's fine considering like what I'm actually like, you know, it's my off day anyway, so whatever. It's fine. I can record a big thing and then send that up to the channel and have something go up. Then at least something's going up today. At least there's that. But yeah, holy shit. Yeah, no, that the mask is perfect. The mask is perfect. That's Doom. That's absolutely Doom to the point where it almost doesn't feel real. Like it almost doesn't feel real. To be clear, listen, I'm going to be super real here. I'm that guy. I'm the guy. Okay. Let's establish something real quick. When Infinity War and Endgame were happening, my brain was already thinking about who I wanted the next Avengers villain to be. Of course I was. When we were getting to Thanos, I was already thinking about who I wanted to be after Thanos. I regret to inform all of you, because I watched Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and that show is awesome. And if you haven't seen it, then you should really watch it. My number one pick for the next big saga was Kang the Conqueror. That was my number one pick. That's who I wanted. That's who I was absolutely staggered with when they actually announced that was happening. I was so fucking excited. So pumped. And Jonathan Majors, we're not going to get into what actually happened. We're not going to get into any of that. That story has gone in 7 billion directions, and I haven't even kept up at this point. All I know is he did some bad shit, or someone did some bad shit to him. Frankly, I saw enough stuff to be like, okay, no, he's not great either, right? Like, bare minimum, this is a situation where two people probably are not great to each other, but either way, the stuff that he did was also not great, right? Like, there's no real ways around that. Also, like, I saw people talking about that stuff about him before that actually ended up coming out by like a few weeks before the news story broke, and it was like anyway, whatever, like the insiders talking about like, no, this is like a guy that's like been known in circles as like a really bad person for a long time, so like when it actually happened, it's like, oh fuck, okay, no, I guess that shit was real. All right, fair enough. He unfortunately, he is an incredible actor. So when they cast him, because I had seen stuff he'd been in, and he was consistently great in them, right? I was like, oh my God, what a perfect guy to play this guy. And then everything I think he did with Kang, I think was great. People didn't largely care, unfortunately. And they banked way too much on one guy, frankly. They bet on they extremely bet on the wrong horse. So I am still a little heartbroken when people were floating the idea of like, oh yeah, maybe they'll swap out Kang for Doom. I'm like, in Secret Wars, even when it was still going to be Kang Dynasty, then Secret Wars, right? It was like, oh wow, so like they're keeping, they're gonna keep, they're gonna ditch the Kang Dynasty, right? Or sorry, the idea that they would keep Kang Dynasty, but they would shortchange him for Doom in Secret Wars. I was like, that's a terrible idea. You're not gonna do Doom. Doom's too big of a force to do as like just Secret Wars, just because he was a big deal in Secret Wars. Like I get he's a big deal in Secret Wars, but like you can't just shove him in there too quickly. You need to have him there in advance. So I was like, it was a terrible idea to do that. But then shuffling this movie into Doomsday, which listen, we can talk about it being a nostalgia play. We can talk about it being a desperation card, all we want. At the end of the day, this isn't the movie they wanted to make, right? Like, they were gonna get the Shang-Chi director to make a Kang Dynasty movie. That was a thing they fully announced they were in production on. That was what they were gonna do, right? Like, we can talk about nostalgia plays and like desperation cards and like quick changes all we want. This was not what they wanted, right? This is having to make the best out of a shit situation. Unfortunately, Jonathan Majors did put them into a fucking pickle. And we can talk all day about how they're just playing the nostalgia card. Oh, they're gonna take a they're gonna do whatever they want. They're gonna shove things in here too quickly. This is not their first choice. This is quite literally a backup plan, right? So I have to give them slack on that at the end of the day. Like this was not their intention. That being said, like, you know, at the end of the day, like, I'm pretty excited about what they're getting. I think they are making something cool out of it from the looks of things. From what it sounds like the movie's doing like pretty good in testing. Although, you know, that doesn't often mean much. But hey, you know, also it's the Russos, right? Yes, is it the safe choice? Yes, but it's also the safe choice because they've been consistently very good for this company, right? Like, them sticking around and guiding the ship for a little bit is not a bad thing. Now, the Russos have also gone off the deep end in some other areas over the years, to be sure. Like, I'm not particularly sure. I agree with their views on certain things at this point. Like, they've been a little bit AI focused, but it doesn't look like that's impeding on this movie. That could also just be investor talk at the same time, to be fair. I don't know. They have definitely not been overwhelmingly perfect, but I don't think that we're seeing much of that in this. That being said, Marvel did fire a lot of their like artist team fairly recently, but the work on this movie and Secret Wars would have already been done at the very least, so that won't really affect this and that. But yeah, it's just well, that's just every industry fucking blowing chunks right now, unfortunately. So less than it is a thing with this movie, but yeah, anyway. So, bleh.
We're going to need a miracle.
Where is this?
Hey, pal.
Is this the FF ship?
It's not possible.
Probably the FF ship. A lot of blue and white. Okay. Well. Apparently, tickets are already on sale for Infinity Vision. Fair enough, I guess. But, like, I cannot imagine buying tickets to a movie like this 6 months out. But anyway, yeah. All right. That's all I got. That's all she wrote. Thank you for thank you for listening to me drone on and ramble. Listen, I do this obviously without a script, and frankly, I think it's better for it. I would rather just be myself and not be a little too fake. Maybe one day I'll have a teleprompter if I ever get super desperate, but I don't know. It always comes off as a little insincere to me. Not that if I did get one, I'd be like opposed to using it or anything like that. You know, I get it, but yeah, I don't know. Blech. off the top of my head is always kind of better, even if it's a little rambly. But yeah. Anyway, hopefully I didn't, because when I got interrupted earlier, I probably did lose my thread. I probably forgot to mention a few things that were on my mind. But yeah, anyway, that's going to be that for this little percentage chance reacts to the Avengers Doomsday trailer. This is probably the longest react that you've seen. I wonder if everybody will actually make it through the first part of it. Either way, I'm pumped. If you're watching this on Monday, no stream today. I'll be back tomorrow, maybe for more Black Flag, potentially more Black Flag. Expect a decent chunk of Black Flag this week. And again, I've already uploaded a, well, not uploaded, it's privated, a Lego. I pre-recorded an extra Lego Batman session that had been 2 months in the making. So yeah, I'm gonna try and like carry through the rest of the game relatively soon. Probably in a pre-recorded format. Who knows? It also might literally be that that game is like relatively close to being done and I just don't realize it. But anyway, okay, well, that's gonna be that, and I will see y'all next time or tomorrow. Maybe I put the Lego Batman thing up later today. I don't know. I might bank it until like I have to go see Brand New Day. Actually, to be honest, I'll have to figure that out. Anyway, have a good one and bye bye.